Hello fellow Whovians, and here we are again, another video. But this time I'm going to do a video of a sort of a review of a box set which is becoming harder and harder to find now. It is, of course, the swan song of the Sixth Doctor, his last four adventures, which is like a little sort of four-story arc. And he becomes entangled with the Valiard again, who basically wants to be rid of Sixie so that he can take over. Um, Obviously, it features his last seven companions. Actually, six, sorry. Because you've got Mel, you've got Jaeger and Lightfoot, you've got Charlotte, you've got Constance, who in effect is his last assistant, and Flip. So there you go. Lovely front illustration. It comes in a sort of a little box set, sort of what would I say? It's a little sleeve set. Open it up. You got an outline of all the four stories, which you see here. And then on the front, you got the illustration as in featured on the actual slip. And when you open it up, you got the box art illustration again, which is beautifully reproduced. I'd love to know who the artist is. Inside, you got the first story in a disc, in a slip. And he's basically saying, I'm a Time Lord who's out of time. Sorry, that was my Colin Baker impression. Change, my dear, not a moment too soon. Anyway, enough of that. Then you flick it over, you got another little sort of illustration of Colin in that well-known sort of pose, which is on the beginning of each of his programs on the BBC. And then disc 2, the Red House, and then you turn it over. There's a forward by Colin himself about the actual arc of the stories, and again another continuation of his forward. And then there's that well-known famous line from William Hartnell many years ago when he was about to regenerate, saying, "It's far from being over." And there you go. And obviously you've got an illustration of him morphing into his next incarnation, the Seventh Doctor. And then a little overview of writer's notes, the story end of the line, well-known phrases during the course of each story. And then you've got the Red House, writer's notes on that, overall overview of that story. Again with Stage Fright, which introduces Jaeger and Lightfoot. And obviously the Valiard again. And then the very final story featuring Mel and another character, the Brink of Death. And obviously you've got the Valiard there in his final confrontation with Sixie. And that leads on to the first phases of Time of the Rani. Okay, and then obviously you got the last adventure there with the producer's notes. And so there's a lovely illustration of Michael Jaston as the Valiard, and then some photos of Colin. You got a nice one of Miranda. Obviously you've got, hang on, let me see, Charlotte Pollard, and obviously India Fisher, who plays Flip. That's what I'm on about. No, India Fisher's her. I'm getting my wires crossed. Sorry, India, if you're watching. India Fisher as Charlotte Pollard. And obviously you've got, hang on, let me see, what's her name? Lisa Greenwood as Flip Jackson. There you go. There's Colin and Michael. And obviously a lovely one of Bonnie Langford as Mel, and a nice one of Michael Jaston, the late great Michael Jaston, who I think passed away earlier this year, bless him. And other cast members who are, let me see, Rory Keenan, Kieran Hodgson, Ashley Maguire, and Jessie Buckley. So there you go. And then obviously you've got Jaeger and Lightfoot themselves in the actors of Trevor Baxter, and Christopher Benjamin, as well as Lisa Bowerman, who plays the part of Ellie. And there's Michael, Mel, there's Michael, Bonnie, and Colin all together. Then you've got production credits, the cast, and an overall illustration there, as you can see, with all the actual cast members. And finally, you've got the final disc, where basically the brink of death, you see him morph him into Sylvester McCoy. So yeah, it's beautifully produced, and there's a little behind the scenes disc here of all the cast members and their thoughts on the productions, etc. And that is it, and it all comes in sort of a book form, so it's beautifully put into a lovely produced sleeve, and there you have it. That is the last adventure of the Sixth Doctor. And yeah, the only thing I will warn you, I was lucky in the fact this was going for auction, and I won it for £19, which was actually not far off the price when I bought the original copy, because I think I paid around about £24.99 for the original copy about 5 years ago when it was first released. But no, it's a fitting end to old Sixie, I must say, and it does sort of leading to the time of the Rani at the very end. So you do hear a little voice, little introduction of Syl coming in at the end, but it is a well worth listening to. It's a good way for 60 to go out on some really strong stories in there. I was absolutely hooked. I sat and listened to all 4 hours of it. I'm not kidding you. I just couldn't stop listening to it. It's really good. And Colin at his best, as well as all the other cast members, and the late great Michael Jaston as well. So I'd heartily recommend, if you can get hold of one of these, do so, because they are getting less and less, well, available. You know, I mean, I've seen about half a dozen on eBay, but I mean, the prices of them now, well, to buy one, I mean, the most expensive price I've seen is about £47. But if you can snap one up, do. And you're a big follower of old Sixie, get it. Because I'm actually going to be collecting all of Colin's adventures with Perry, Flick, Jago, Lightfoot, Mel. Obviously, there's the other assistant I'm trying to think the name of. Oh, what was her name? Oh, sorry, I've forgotten. Unfortunately, she passed away, bless her heart. And that was a good story arc too. So I know Colin's still producing a few of Sixties as well. He's done around about 70, I think, at the latest date. I don't know how many more he's going to do, but yeah, definitely get it. I'd hardly recommend it. It's a really good audio set. Anyway, all that remains for me to say is stay safe, enjoy your Whovian adventures on Big Finish, on any of the streams, current, classic, and hopefully future series of Doctor Who. Anyway, until then, Alonzi, and I'll speak to you next time.